Grand Rise family, this is Indigo. It is another beautiful, cold, chilly morning, and I feel like it's a perfect time to slip into some reality. All right? So, let's start by getting into the characteristics, or some characteristics, of toxic people and toxic behavior. Okay? It's coming for people, and I'm reading this. This is a basic general definition or description, so to speak. Um, it's coming for people with toxic behavior to create drama in their lives or be surrounded by it, to try to manipulate or control others, be needy. Quotations, it's all about them all the time. Use others to meet their needs, such as, quotation, narcissistic parents. Be extremely critical of themselves and others. Be jealous and envious of others, bemoaning their bad fortune and others' good fortune. To abuse substances or harm themselves in other ways, and be unwilling or unable to seek help from loved ones, a therapist, or a recovery program. Okay? That is a list of some of the characteristics of people with toxic behavior. Okay? Now that we got that down, let's dig into some of the things that, some of the things are signs that you may experience or feel, or how to know when you're dealing with a toxic personality. Okay? You may feel that you're emotionally affected by their drama. You dread or fear being around them. You're exhausted or you feel angry while you're with them or after your interaction with them. You feel bad or ashamed about yourself. You're stuck in a cycle of trying to rescue, fix, or care for them. The other person doesn't respect the word no as a complete sentence. When you're with them, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You tend to ignore your own values. You tend to emotionally check out most of the time. You feel like you're being controlled or you're being overly controlling. All right. Now we're going to put that down and we're going to dig into it. Let's get into this. I decided to talk about this subject today because it's a reality. And it's not only a reality that I am seeing in real time, real life. This explains a lot of the BS that I am seeing on YouTube and other social media platforms. And it's bleeding over, the social media situation is bleeding over into real life. And I would dare say that it's bleeding over into real life, but I feel for it to even be on YouTube. People are experiencing this in their real time, real life already, and they're bringing it to YouTube, and it's bleeding over into other people's lives. Okay? If you can understand that. I mean, a lot of the ish that's going on, like everybody's getting, all involved in this carbonation thing. I get it. I get being concerned about some BS that you see in that somebody is doing that is morally wrong and it really offends you. I get that. I get having your say on it. What I don't get is where people are letting this affect their own personal lives, getting involved with these people. Okay? It is clear that some of these people have some very toxic behavior. But if you're aware of your own self, why would you allow yourself to get into that? Why would you allow that to invade your space, your head space? Okay? Really, just think about it. If you step away from this and you move on and do the things that you're supposed to do in your life, will their lives really affect yours? Okay? We have to understand that these are grown people. They're attention-seeking people. And I've learned that being grown means that you have grown to a certain point of development. It does not mean that you have reached the level of maturity that you should have. Okay? People like to say, oh, we grown. This is grown, folks. Grown. I'm an adult. That's great. But do you have the maturity that you should have? I mean, chronologically and physically, we all going to get to a certain age. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we have mentally developed to the maturity that we need to be at. And we have to learn how to say no. We have to learn how to say no and use that as a complete sentence. And if that person doesn't accept no as a complete sentence, we need to learn how to turn and walk the F away. Okay? We need to learn that. That has to deal with self-discipline. Okay? I'm seeing a lot of undisciplined people floating around on YouTube right now. And it's showing itself. You know, we keep talking about how the veil is thinning. I don't think a lot of people understand what that means. You know, me personally, when I say that the veil is thinning, that means that it has been so thick, or we have allowed it to be so thick, that we have not paid attention to what is going on around us. It's not that any of this stuff that's going on is new. It's just becoming more visible. I.e., the veil is thinning. You're able to see it now and more clearly. You know? The old heads used to tell the young ones, there are a few things that you never run to. You don't run to a fight. You don't run to a fire unless you intend to put it out. All of these things can be dangerous. I want to add something to that. You don't run to bullshit. I'm just going to just put it out there. I'm sorry. They can ban this, market flag it, whatever. Just sometimes it just fits, okay? You don't run to bullshit. We got too much to do. We have too many issues of our own to deal with. And this thing that we're running to on YouTube is escapism in worse form. You know? I tell people all the time that the internet is escapism. You're escaping to something that pulls you away from your real life. Okay? And we have enough issues and problems in our own life to deal with. But we're escaping to help somebody else solve theirs or to contribute to theirs. You know? How can you call yourself completely sane and do that? I mean, I don't really think any of us are completely sane, but the level of insanity that I am seeing is ridiculous. I keep telling people in each one of my lives or my videos that I have real life. I'm step back into reality. You really got to do that. Because when your fantasy comes reality, and when some of your worst fantasies come reality, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. I mean, there's good fantasies and there's bad ones. And the internet is a fantasy world for very awkward people. I could be awkward in real life and be totally okay. I don't need to clock onto a social platform to see the worst of the freaking worst. I could watch the news for that. Hell, I could take a walk and see the worst of the worst. I don't even want to understand. I'm not gonna say I don't understand. I don't want to understand all the depravity and stupidity that I am seeing. I don't want to understand the childlike mentalities that I am seeing in people that are supposedly grown and claim maturity but don't have it. I don't want to see that. You know? It used to be that I worried about the young people that are coming up really effing up the world and doing some just basically fuck shit. And now I know why. Because you have to look at who raised them, who produced them, who bore those children, and the environment that these children have to grow up in. They're truly babies being born to babies in grown bodies. They are not getting the education, the moral background that they need because their parents don't have it. And they're not even trying to get it. Okay? Sorry, y'all, I have to have my cocoa in the morning. You know, I've been trying to make this video for like 2 or 3 days, but real life stepped in. So I got time this morning. We need to step away from this shit. We need to stop getting so involved in other people's lives that we are neglecting our own. We get drawn into this shit. You know? It's one thing to be involved with a narcissistic person in your real life. And I believe I made another video. I made a video on it's called Fool's Gold about narcissistic people and their willing victims, you know? It's one thing to be involved in that in real time, one-on-one, but we are getting drawn in to a shared psychosis online. You know, I had to really take time to look. I'm like, wow, this is a narcissistic relationship with somebody we don't even fucking know face to face. This shit, you know, my sis, shout out to Cherie Bad, my sis talks on this all the time. It is a freaking virus. It is viral. You know? It is viral. And we're all contracting it via online. You know? We talk to our kids about, or we complain about rather, our children are always on video games and watching TV and this, that, and the other. Ever stop to think where they get that behavior from? Maybe it's because they see mom or dad or aunt, uncle, or sister constantly on their phone, tip-tapping. Nobody talks to each other anymore. We don't have parents talking good sense. We don't have parents teaching life skills. So they resort back to sitting on this phone, and there you go, another generation that's walking into this bullshit online. They get to see things that they shouldn't see at the wrong time. They're learning shit that they should never really even have to deal with. They're gaining behavior that they should not have. You know, they're virtually being raised by a phone or tablet or a computer or a game system. And we're allowing it to happen. Because we're already hooked in. We already have that lifeline of the internet. We're so hooked on these social platforms, we can't live real life and, raise our children to be able to deal with real life and real things. It's toxic behavior, y'all. There's a cure for it. Walk away. Walk away from it. And do some real shit. Find something positive to do with your life. Because this is not positive at all. People are on YouTube and other social platforms spreading this bullshit. And people are willingly eating it up. You're like little sheeple just following along, falling off that damn cliff. Well, it's not sheeple that fall off the cliff. It's lemmings that fall off the cliff. My bad. I digress and correct myself. You following along like a little lemming. Lemmings they roll around in groups. And if one goes off that damn cliff, all the rest of them are going to follow it. And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what is happening, and we see it. There's a huge group of lemmings, and one fell off the cliff, and the other ones ran right behind it, following it. Nobody stopped to question. Nobody stopped to look. Nobody said, hey, this is not the direction we're supposed to be going. Let's just follow this one. Now I understand when my grandparents always said, be a leader, not a follower. Because you can follow people that do bullshit and look around and don't know where the fuck you at because you weren't paying attention. You were just following. And I would say we need to lead by example, but these people are leading by example. Not a good example, but an example nonetheless. Learn to step out of the bullshit, y'all. Put the damn phone down sometimes. Find something else to do with your life that is productive and positive. And if you just can't seem to pull yourself away from the phone, at least have a little bit of discernment about what you're letting into your personal space, your head. Stop letting all this bullshit in your head. Stop getting so involved in somebody else's dysfunction that you become dysfunctional yourself. Am I afraid for the future? Yes. But it's more because of the generation, my generation, that scares me more than the younger generation. If we could correct what's wrong in my generation, the younger generation might have a chance. So it's time to stop blaming the kids. Blame who's having these kids. Blame who's raising these kids. We all need to take accountability for our own actions and what we are doing. We're worried about the wrong damn thing. I guarantee you that if we stop giving these dysfunctional ass, morally deprived people the attention that they're craving, they'll stop. It's like looking at a little kid that's not getting attention that they need. They're not getting the love and the hugs and things that they need. They'll go for any kind of attention. Bad, good, or otherwise. I just want attention. Well, that's what these people are. They're grown children seeking attention of any shape, form, or fashion. Just pay attention to me. See me. I'm not invisible. Look at me. That's what they are. And we're giving them that negative attention, and they keep that negative, toxic ass behavior up because that's what's getting them their attention. If we ignore that shit, they'll stop. Or something will stop them. Stop feeding into it. I just had to get that out this morning. And I hope I've made a little sense to someone. Because as for me, I'm about to check out. I'm about to check out the bullshit. I'm tired of it infiltrating my feelings, my emotional, my personal headspace. I got shit to do. And I don't have time for this. And I don't think anybody with any kind of common sense and worth their salt got time to deal with this shit either. Those that do, you need to check yourself. If this is okay with you, if you're happy with seeing all this bullshit going around, you're part of the problem. All right? And once again, I'm finna get back to real life. And this bomb-ass cocoa I got this morning. And get some shit done. And remember, y'all, self-love is key. Love yourself, or learn to love yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. And can't nobody else love you. Because people love you according to how they see you love yourself. Y'all be good. Have an awesome day. Peace.